how do you reach that maximum intensity on days that you're just not feeling it?
Yeah.
What do you recommend for that?
I mean, we're all going to have those days, right?
Yeah.
Stars aren't always going to align. You're not going to have the craziest pumps. You're not going to, hit new PR. And you got to just look at the factors that contribute to that leading up to them. But let's say if you have some of those days, just getting to the gym, doing what you can, even if it's going to be a lackluster workout, is better than nothing.
And welcome everyone to Fit Foundations. Today we will be discussing training intensity and how that works into your entire program. Fit Foundations brought to you by FitFluentX. FitFluentX, come to us for all your lifestyle coaching, personal training, and fitness consulting needs. Tom, how are you today?
Man, doing pretty good.
Doing
no
pretty
complaints,
good.
Man. We've been busy filming. We came straight from the gym, filming some content, pumping out these videos. But it's been a while since we've really sat down and done this.
No doubt.
The last
man.
time we said that was like 3 weeks ago.
I know, man.
It may not seem like it because we keep on releasing videos, but it's nice to be back here.
Yeah, it's nice to be back in the studio and recording something that I like doing these because they're helpful tips, right? They're helpful tips. Like we do content based on like exercise videos, and then we shot the Carolina Pros seminar a couple weeks ago, which was a good time, a great time. I mean, I had a blast at that. Just meeting all the pros and the amateurs that were there.
Huge turnout.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And but I really enjoy filming these Fit Foundations just from the learning aspect, and we've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that. That some people, I know that our main comments are typically like, I like to just cook all my food or prep all my food or while I'm driving, listen to it. So we appreciate everything. And so make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so we can continue to bring you all this fire content.
Let's keep it growing, people.
Keep it growing. So today we're going over training intensity, and I have some experience in that today because you trained me in chest this morning, which was totally different intensity than when I do it by myself. So, when you talk training intensity for workouts, like, how do you envision that? Like, as far as like let's say somebody who's a beginner that is just starting to work out, maybe they're just starting to get on meal plans and they're trying to do all the right things. How does training intensity fit in to that whole program?
Well, it's progressive, right? Like just like everything else. I think for a beginner, the first thing that's most important is just going to the gym, doing the workouts that whatever is your plan, and making sure that you're not leaving without, reps and sets in the tank, doing what you can, but not going in there balls to the wall and, where you might be out of the gym for the next 3-4 days because you're just too sore. So I think for a beginner, the most important thing is not getting so hell-bent on just pushing more and more weight every set, but I can't preach it enough. It's just execution. Make sure that your form, your mobility is in check. Make sure that you can feel the exercise in the muscles that you're really trying to target. Having a personal trainer, really, I can't put more stress on that, is working with the professional. Just like you said, you got a lot more out of me just being there with you, holding you accountable to that intensity throughout the workout.
Oh, yeah. And especially
for yourself.
Especially for somebody who's just starting out, like, I know we've experienced a lot of clients, personal training wise and coaching wise, that have it in their head that they know. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what I used to do when I was in high school. This is what I used to do when I was here. And, we have a guy here in town that we know mutually. I'm not going to say his name, but he comes to the gym probably like once a month, and he's strong as an ox, but we don't see him after that one training session because he comes in for like 3 hours and blasts everything.
Yeah.
And that's a little over the top intensity. That's not really what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like actually trying to, if you're just starting out, you have to, you got to be realistic about what your training intensity can be so that you can move the next day. And what works best for you, like you said, progression wise, to start and then move up and advance and see that progression. So what do you recommend as far as, let's say somebody who's maybe a little more advanced, maybe they've been in the gym, they've been doing it the right way, they're not seeing, let's just say maybe intensity is where they're lacking. Let's say they're at the gym regularly, they're doing the right cardio, they're eating the right stuff, but it's just they're just not seeing that. What would your recommendations be for that kind of person that's like, all right, obviously I'm doing all the things by the book, but maybe intensity in their training is where it's lacking. Yeah. So what do you recommend for a person like that?
I think, especially going back into it, let's say if it's a more advanced lifter that is pretty familiar with the gym, with the equipment, and they just hit a wall. I think it's very important just to establish that baseline. If you don't have a logbook, if you don't have an idea of where you're at with your weights and with the sets that you're doing, I think that's the number one thing that you should start recording and logging. And we discussed that before, but if you don't have that and you're just going in each week, lackadaisical, it's like, okay, this feels pretty tough. I'm failing at 10 reps. But are you really pushing yourself? Where were you at last week? Especially with the pin loaded machines. I don't know how much weight I was doing for tricep push downs last week. And I'm not saying you need to log every single set, but you have to have a good idea of where you are so you can try to come in there and beat yourself.
At least your working sets.
Yes,
at least
your top sets, your working sets, your big compound movements, if nothing else. Like you should really push to do either more reps or a little bit more weight, even if it's a 2.5 pound plate on each side, something. And I've experienced that myself. It's very easy just to kind of go through the motions, especially in an off season when it's not as exciting, or if you're doing a deload phase. Yeah, that's very different. In that instance, you're really focusing on mind to muscle connection, pulling back, allowing your body to recover so you can go into another push phase where you're really trying to increase strength and performance in the gym with your diet. And that's another thing is your workout and your diet is really intertwined together. You can't have one without the other and have success.
So what because like for those that don't know, like Tom is my coach. Like he's the one that coaches me, and I'm not trying to really step on stage or anything like that, but I am trying to progress in my workouts. And so it's got me on like a mini prep right now. And I'm in I'm pushing in, this is the start of my 3rd week today. And so, and you gave me like very specific pre-workout meals, post-workout meals. How did those influence the training intensity? Because I know that I've noticed a difference in how much more I can do when I'm working out, but I don't think I held as much weight in the post-workout meals as I should have, because I was kind of that person that was like, all right, I just finished working out, let me down a protein shake, right? For the open window, which apparently isn't really a thing, right? And I mean, that for many years, that was like the thing. You have your open window after you're done.
As soon as you finish that set, just chug
it. Yeah. And like that's kind of what my mentality was. And that's kind of what I was doing. But to see the differences in just 2 weeks that I'm already seeing in taking a pre-workout meal and a post-workout meal, like maybe kind of talk about how that affects training intensity as well.
And I really have that with all my clients that are working out. With my programs, is we want to fuel the workout So those are your two largest meals typically. All the other meals really can be interchanged. You can swap them out, but it's very critical if like I have those meals designed in a client's plan specifically for helping with their performance in the gym, because of course carbs, and that's our fuel source, but it's also going to help with recovery. And without getting too complicated with this, you don't want to have right after your workout, you want to have fast absorbing higher glycemic index carbs that are going to be flushed straight to muscle glycogen and recovery. You don't want to have fats in your post-workout meal. So notice I don't have you like almond butter, avocado, anything post-workout.
No,
because that's satiating. It's already kind of hard with as many calories as you're eating right now.
Yeah.
To get that post-workout in after an intense workout sometimes.
It's not hard for me, man. I was like, dude, I've it took a little bit to get my appetite where it needed to be, because you increased my caloric intake by almost 1,000 calories a day. Yeah. When we started, and so it took me, I don't know, 3 to 4 days before I really kind of hit my stride where I wasn't feeling like I was forcing meals. But now I'm ready to eat once I'm done working out. And I mean, you even said one day, you were like, how are you eating right this? I mean, I literally, like, as soon as I'm done, I am starving.
Yeah.
And my post-workout meal, like you said, high glycemic carbs, grits of all things, and
easily digestible.
Yeah, easily digestible, high glycemic index, and then lean ground turkey. And and you told me put a little salt in there, so I put a little, like, the Himalayan salt, and like, that's my post-workout meal, and I look forward to it. Like, I am craving it once I'm starting to hit my failure set. Like, once I'm starting to burn out towards the end of my workout, I am like, I'm thinking about it. It's on my mind. And I can tell such a difference in the rest of my day after taking in that, as opposed to just a protein shake. And so, but my pre-workout meal, which I was surprised still had some higher glycemic index with what you put in there from my carb intake.
But what was the difference with the pre-workout meal?
The difference is I'm taking in like some fats. I have some almond butter in there, and a lot of protein. It feels like that's probably one of my harder meals to take down early in the morning, even though I'm hungry, is because of the amount of protein that it is so early. But I don't have any problem getting it down now.
Yeah, and you give yourself at minimum 1 hour before going to the gym.
Yeah,
because you don't want to go into the gym with a full stomach where all that blood is being pushed to your stomach to help with digestion, and not to your extremities and to your muscles that you're trying to train.
Yeah.
So it can be counterproductive. But the reason why I put fats in my pre-workout with the higher glycemic index carbs is to help stabilize your blood sugars, for one, and also help extend that energy digestion throughout the entire workout.
Well, it definitely is working. Failing. It's definitely working. I've seen a huge, because I'm a morning workout person. Like, I'm a morning workout. The longer I go into the day, the less chance there's going to be any intensity in my workout.
We know a lot of people that are like that.
And I like to get it in, get it done, and be done with it. Yep. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's time to go home. But I've seen a huge difference in my level of intensity in the gym, just because my energy level's so high when I get in there, because I was really more of like, I took in enough protein, I think, but I didn't take in any fats, and I was taking in like oatmeal, which is not a high glycemic carb and a very slow burning carb.
Yes.
And but the difference in the intensity in my workouts has been ridiculous. And I still have my days where I'm just like, pff.
Yeah, we all do.
So, let's say, what do you recommend, like, on those days where I'm just like, how do I get that intensity up? I mean, I know my meal is important, but, if for any of our listeners or our followers, like, how do you reach that maximum intensity on days that you're just not feeling it?
Yeah.
What do you recommend for that?
I mean, we're all going to have those days, right?
Yeah.
Stars aren't always going to align. You're not going to have the craziest pumps. You're not going to, hit new PR, and you got to just look at the factors that contributed to that leading up to it. Like when you took that, you had your daughters had a dance. What was it? A competition.
Yeah.
You were on the road. You had to travel. It was really hard to get your meals in. You know, you had a crazy hectic week. You were sitting in the car for hours, so you weren't optimal when you got back. Your digestion even was affected by that, just because you're not getting those meals at the same time within your regular schedule. That's why so many bodybuilders live like hermits, and they have to stay within, stay there living in a box literally, and just going to the gym, to the grocery store, back home, bed, and repeat. You know, that's how much it really adds up to where you can get the most out of it. But let's say if you have some of those days, just getting to the gym, doing what you can, even if it's going to be a lackluster workout, is better than nothing.
Yeah.
And
luckily I was able to do that.
And you bounce back because you didn't just say, well, this entire week's a wash.
Oh, no.
Throw in the towel. We hear that too.
God. That is like the most common thing. It's like, I had a bad day. I'll start again next week.
Yeah, start again Monday.
So frustrating.
No, you just got to pick up the next meal.
Yeah.
The next meal. And it's just like when you first started, like, how am I going to get all this down?
Yeah.
You know, we haven't had any cardio, do you? Because I knew you.
And I'm still losing weight.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy is 1,000, it was like 980 extra calories a day.
Significant amount more carbs too.
Than I was taking in. And I think I've lost a pound a week. Like I'm losing body fat, but my muscles are more full.
Definitely.
I'm definitely starting to kind of see more definition.
Your strength is increasing?
Yeah. Oh, significantly increasing. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the amount of reps I can do with heavier weight is increasing. And so like, I feel like my training intensity is really starting to like kick up there. So let's talk maybe about like, what's too much? And is there too much intensity potentially? Like, can there be too much?
I'm glad you brought that up because that's another thing that I've experienced working with like more advanced,
I imagine so.
Clients that it's just in their nature to be, if they have it, especially if they have an athletic background, more is always better. I gotta just, go in there every single day. And if I can walk out of the gym, I didn't do it right.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to start seeing diminishing returns. Your body's going to be inflamed, sore. You're going to be a lot more susceptible to injury. I think John Meadows really said it best, that you don't want to dig a hole so deep that you can't get out of it.
Yeah.
So I have to put a governor, so to speak, with a lot of my athletes, and tell them, like, no, you need to take a day off of cardio, day out of the gym, and guess what? I'm going to refeed you. I'm going to feed you more on this day. And it just blows their mind. They're like, no,
yeah,
what are you talking about? How? There's no way that makes sense. It's like, no, if you really break it down and think about it, why would I give you more food to help with recovery if I see that your body, you're wearing your diet? That's why I like to call it. If you're wearing your diet and it's in a depleted phase and you're just trying to keep pushing like you would like an off-season phase, you're not going to put yourself in a position to really burn fat. You're going to be in that constant fight or flight mode, and your body's going to start seeing stagnation in your performance, in your fat loss, your recovery, your sleep.
Well, and then you kind of put yourself in a catabolic state as well, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like stress. Like we have a client who was just so determined to continue to see that reduction in weight that he went through a week where he didn't see this. He saw a reduction, but he didn't see the same level he had been seeing, the same consistent numbers. And we believe it was overtraining. Mm-hmm. Like he was just killing himself on a cycle bike. And his mind was in the right place. His heart was in the right place.
Yes, he just got fixated on the scale.
Yeah, he got fixated on the scale. And you need that time to rest and recover.
Because I was seeing it when I work with him 3 times a week, and I was seeing it in his training.
Yeah.
It was like the week prior, I was like, man, you were strongest, best workouts I've ever been. And the following week, it was,
Yeah.
just run down.
Just run down. Yeah. And I
And
mean, he's a busy guy as well.
Yeah.
And so I think that he wasn't taking into consideration the amount of calories he's burning naturally just because he has such a strong work ethic. And he's the kind of guy that's like, all right, this needs to be done. And if I have to do it, I'm going to do it. And
Right.
he's like that kind of person. And, but he kind of overdid it, kind of pushed himself. Well, extra stress on your body leads to higher cortisol levels, leads to water retention, leads to catabolic state in your muscles.
And even though, the scale might show that you're losing weight,
but
does that mean it's progress?
Yeah. Yeah. Because then at some point, you're going to go back, or you're going to, because you're going to just stress your body out to the point where maybe it affects your mental state and emotional state. And, I would say that's the point. And I had another client this week. I had to kind of get on her a little bit because I was like, she was making very emotional decisions in her eating habits. And I was like, that's what I'm here for and I think Dom said this when we were at the Carolina Pro Seminar. I think it's on there is, it's good to have a coach, even someone as advanced, with such an advanced intelligence and education like Dom. He said, I would even have my own coach because you can make emotional decisions, which affects your training intensity, which affects the rest of your diet, and affects everything else you do, which is why it's important to have a coach, so that we don't make emotional decisions about your life, because we're invested in your life, but we're not invested emotionally in your day-to-day things that stress you out and those kind of things. So that's what, I was like, hey, just reach out to me.
Don't run and
Reach out
hide.
to me. Yeah.
That's what we're here to lean on. And it's not something that we definitely don't shame any of our clients.
Oh, no, never.
We applaud them for being honest with us.
That's the main thing. Is, like, we can't help you if
you got to be willing to help yourself.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to, I can understand it for like a week, 2 weeks, first month. Yeah, it's going to be a little rocky. This is very new. But, if you're not doing the little things, and we're able to see that with your check-ins, it makes me question if you're really, what else you're not doing.
Yeah.
And we're in the gym.
Yep.
Usually all throughout the 9 to 5, one of us is going to be in the gym Monday through Friday.
Yep.
At a certain point. So we know when people are coming in, the clients that we work with in person.
And we watch you train, and people tell us. People tell us as well. People tell us like, oh, we hadn't seen so and so this week, and we hadn't seen you in class, and we hadn't seen you here, and but I enjoy watching the people, especially that we do a class in the gym we train in, and called FX Underground, which is a HIIT class. And it's great to see the different levels of intensity when somebody starts to, a couple weeks down the road, a month down the road, and how much more they can put into it on certain days as they begin to progress, and we've got their diet in the right spot, and
intensity is individual.
Because it's
beginner's level really intensity is very different.
It's really about how you feel, right?
Yeah.
Like, really, intensity is about how you feel and what you're going to put into it. And, you're going to have, like you said, you're going to have those days that you're just kind of like lackluster and go through the motions, but it's important to go through those motions, but at least have a good moderate intensity, even if it's not vigorous intensity. So, before we wrap up, let's maybe talk about cardio intensity. So let's say the difference in what cardio intensity should be for like a beginner versus somebody who's more advanced, or maybe like an athlete you have getting ready to step on stage.
Well, I think, let's say if it's someone that has to lose a significant amount of weight, I would definitely stay away from high impact cardio. Maybe even starting on a recumbent bike, something that's not going to put extra wear and tear on your hips and knees. And even with some clients that they might not even like doing the stationary cardio, have a tracker, a pedometer, where you can see how many steps you're getting in a day. Some clients I know that it's just impossible for them to come in and do their fasted cardio. just get your steps throughout the day and just give me a recording at the end of the week. You know, if you're
I have
Apple
a client
Watch
that's
or,
all her cardio is just steps. She doesn't actually do any cardio. In fact, she doesn't like all her workouts are at home. So, but she does like 20 to 25,000 steps a day. Just naturally, she's not trying to get them in. That's just how much she moves around as a teacher, and it's crazy. I'm like, I don't know if I'd walk that much in a week.
That's a lot.
In a week.
That's a lot. It takes me a lot to get 10,000 steps regularly.
And she does.
I'm lazy outside the gym.
easily 20,000 steps a day. Like she might hit 25 a day, but without thinking 20,000 a day.
Yeah. And if it's someone that's really like trying to dial in for a show more advanced, you got to know when to pull back on the cardio. Like if we're running a little behind, let's say if we're 4 weeks out and look 6 weeks out, now maybe I'll throw in like a hit session once a week, twice a week. But I don't want them doing that every single day because cortisol levels are going to spike up on top of their training. And that's why I also like to separate those sessions, if at all possible, from their workouts to their cardio. Because if you're in the gym and it's already like you're in a deficit, it's hard enough to get through and put 100% intensity into your weightlifting if you have 25, 30 minutes, 45 minutes of cardio to look forward to right after. Who's going to put 100% and be like, now I got to get on the treadmill?
Yeah.
You know, so
exactly.
I would rather them get out, get some food, rest a few hours, then go back and do an evening session.
Yeah.
And we discussed that too at the Caroline Pro Seminar. And it was eye-opening to a lot of the athletes that were there because it's just, like I said before, it's just more and more and more. We get close to the competition, I would go behind my coach's back and I would do an extra 5 minutes because I'm, just that hardcore. Then you look softer. You start holding on to more water.
Is that providing you a service or a disservice?
Yeah, I mean, look at Brett. What Mike's done with Brett.
Yeah,
going into the
he
Charlotte
sick,
Pro.
Man, he looks awesome.
He's done no more than 25 minutes of cardio the entire prep, and he admitted that he was one of those athletes that would go behind Mike's back, and his girlfriend would tell on him when he got the treadmill inclined all the way up. And he would tell it himself too. Yeah. Like 900 calories, 1,000 calories in a single session in 30 minutes. And he was doing that. Yeah, he was doing his body a disservice. And now look at him; he's coming in his best condition. He looks great right now, man.
Yeah, his condition's fantastic.
Yeah,
like he's
bigger.
He's definitely a front runner.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited
for the Carolina Cup. So all right, well, we're gonna have to wrap up this show. If let us know what your training intensity is. Like, do you prefer to go hard the whole time? Do you kind of hold it back a little bit? Do you let the meals do the work for you? Kind of let us know if you're a beginner or if you have any questions about training intensity that we can hit on. Maybe there's something more specific we need to be hitting on. So
we only scratched the surface.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So let us know down in the comments and make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell button so you can see this content right before your eyes. Until next time, we will see you later.